What's going on, people? It's your boy back with another reaction video. I'll be reacting to 3 scary true vacation stories. I almost said Bollywood for some reason. Vacations can be, I almost say scary, but it's intimidating. Like when you go somewhere that you've never been before, you don't know the people, you don't know the area, and you can get, if you don't go like in areas like they, because I know I went when I went to St. Thomas when I was 21. I took my dad to St. Thomas, and we went down there, and my dad wanted to drive around, so, and I wanted to drive around too, because I want to go with the real people and not just stay in the, because we could have just stayed in our hotel. It was like the resort had everything. But I was like, no, I want to go to the clubs. I want to go in the neighborhoods and stuff like that. And we went in there, and it was cool. I mean, at one time we went to one place. It was a beach. It was kind of a rundown neighborhood, but a beach was right across the street from home. And people were like in the road, bumping music and stuff like that. And we didn't stay over there that long because people were kind of eyeballing us, and mainly eyeballing me, I guess. And I know I might be, maybe I was just nervous or something, but it just felt like they were just looking at me. And I gotten looks like that in other places I've been. When you go like in Chicago, you go in certain neighborhoods, people don't know you, and you just walking, and people will kind of look at you, especially you go in rough neighborhood. They kind of look at you like, who the fuck are you? Because they don't know you, and they don't know what you doing there, or you might be trying to shoot somebody. They might look at you and they're trying to shoot. It's just kind of people like on edge and shit like that. Especially like in those neighborhoods where they have a high gang like activity in that area. But yeah, vacations they can be. Because I know I went to Hawaii. Like I didn't really get that had that problem. I walked in certain areas like where they were like neighborhoods and stuff, but it was everybody was just like something. He was like, "Hey, how you doing, man?" I was like, "Hey." I had forgotten that. I guess that means like hang loose or something like that. But yeah, it didn't really feel like that there. But the people, like I said, at the same time, the people everywhere else was fine. The clubs, everyone was fine. People take one guy we met, took me some pretty interesting strip clubs. But yeah, anyway, let's get into this video. Here we go.
My girlfriend and I love skiing. It's how we met. So last year, during both of our vacation times, we Airbnb'd a one-bedroom cabin in Colorado by Vail Mountain. One of my friends told us getting a private cabin was a lot more cozy, peaceful, and romantic. After landing at the airport, we taxied to a rental car place and rented a Honda Civic, probably the cheapest car we could get. We drove a constant uphill through the sludge on the roads until we pulled off the main road onto a more foresty side road. Eventually, we made it to the cabin. Far and isolated from anyone else, but not too far where getting to the mountain would be a pain in the ass. The owner left the key hidden in the mailbox.
I've never considered that a vacation.
As soon as I unlocked the door and stepped inside, we got a huge whiff of, I guess, wood. It literally smelled exactly how you'd expect a log cabin to smell. It wasn't huge, but it was spacious enough. One bedroom, one bathroom, decent living room with a TV and a kitchen. I was paying chump change for it, so I was more than happy with it.
Not
Plus,
expecting
we were
a
there to
TV.
ski, not sit around the cabin. We got there towards the end of the day, so we didn't hit the slopes that night. We actually just unloaded and got right back on the road to pick up a pizza for dinner. We got back and ate on the couch in the living room while watching a movie. With the dark, moody lighting and the whole log cabin atmosphere, it actually was quite romantic. Until my girlfriend started freaking out about her bag. Apparently it wasn't where she left it, which was on the coffee table in the living room. I helped her look around, though there wasn't much space to search. She was absolutely positive she left it on the coffee table. It wasn't in the bathroom, kitchen, or living room, so I checked the bedroom, and sure enough, it was sitting right next to the bed. I picked it up and brought it to the doorway of the bedroom with a smirk on my face. My girlfriend didn't seem as relieved as I thought she would be, though. She accused me of moving it and going through her bag, which I found downright insane. We had a bit of an argument until I convinced her that she in fact put her bag in there and that she had just forgotten. We went back to eating and watching the movie, and we got over the argument quickly.
You had an argument
The
about
next
that
day, we took
bullshit?
the slopes from early morning till dusk. We stopped on the way back to the cabin to get dinner again. When we returned back to the cabin, we both immediately noticed the living room light was on. My girlfriend was slightly freaking out. I told her to chill. The front door was still
Chill,
locked,
babe.
so that confirmed nobody had broken in. I thought obviously one of us left the light on by mistake and didn't notice earlier because it was bright out. So once again, we ate our food and watched a movie. When suddenly, out of nowhere, my girlfriend shrieked. I jumped up and looked at her. She had one hand covering her mouth, the other pointing at something on the ground. At first I didn't see it, but when I got up confused and moved closer, I saw it. It was a pair of somewhat fresh boot marks in the rug in the corner of the living room. The snow from the boots had melted into wet stains in the area rug. Obviously both of us wore boots, but I just didn't remember stepping over there. My girlfriend asked me to check around the cabin to make her feel safe, so I did. I peeped under the kitchen table, behind the living
You
room
ain't got no
couch,
weapon.
in the bathroom, and I took a peep in the bedroom. There didn't appear to be anyone in the cabin. There weren't really many places to hide anyway. Still, she was scared and seemed to lose all interest in the movie. She went to the bathroom and brushed her teeth, then went to the bedroom to change, and I heard her jump into bed. So I did all the same. I climbed into bed and shut the light, and we sat there for a while just talking. It was actually only like 9 or 10 p.m. My girlfriend kept letting me know how uncomfortable she was, thinking someone was in the cabin. So I told her, okay, just wait 1 second. I took out my phone and dialed the Airbnb host. I put the phone up to my ear and heard it ring. I don't mean the ring coming from the phone speaker. I meant I heard a loud, muffled ringing coming from behind the wall next to the bed.
The damn
The
owner.
ringing stopped as soon as I saw my call was rejected. My girlfriend started screaming, "Oh my God." I told her to calm down as I got up and approached the wall to the left. I noticed an ever so slight crack in the wall that looked like it could be a door. My girlfriend screamed at me not to open it. I got myself angry, yelled, and pulled open the door. There I was, faced with a small hidden closet, and inside, a man hiding behind a cardboard box in the corner. It was the host, the owner of the cabin. I'd seen his picture on the listing. I'll admit, I jumped and screamed in fear and shock when I saw him, but anger overcame me, and I grabbed him by his shirt and pulled him out. I knew he looked creepy based on his picture. He had his hands up, apologizing. I told him to shut up.
I'm sorry.
I looked deeper in the closet.
Sorry,
to
my
my
goddamn
disgust,
creep.
found some of my girlfriend's underwear.
Oh, fuck.
It took way too long for the police to arrive, but he was arrested. He had to spend the rest of that night at a hotel, and the next day we went home. I requested compensation from Airbnb, and it took months for them to refund me, but they eventually did. The story was so bizarre and disturbing, I don't even expect everyone to believe it when I tell it, but it was too real.
I never understood that people be taking people's underwear, like, be smelling and shit, like.
When my best friend Lizzie and I were 18,
Just,
we
I
went
guess
on our
it's just
first
not my cup
vacation
of tea.
alone together to London. We were staying at the London Marriott Hotel. The first thing we did upon arrival was, of course, to get there and drop off all our luggage. We'd be there for a whole week, so we had to set our itinerary. It was late in the day already, so we didn't have much time that day, but we did want to see something at least, so we went to see Big Ben, which is that iconic big clock tower that everyone knows in pictures when you think of London. After that, we went to a nearby tavern for dinner called St. Stephen's Tavern. It was money, but good thing our dads were paying for this trip. After leaving the tavern, it was like 9 o'clock, and we were wanting to go out and experience the nightlife. We agreed we'd first have to go back to the hotel and shower and change first. As we were walking, a young, attractive man overheard us talking about the nearby bars we were looking at on our phones, and he stopped
Some
us.
taking shit.
Something about him immediately was just charming that grabs both my and Lizzie's attention.
Get you with that accent.
And if it weren't for that, maybe we wouldn't have been so receptive to him telling us about a big apartment party that one of his rich friends was throwing that night, and that two attractive ladies like ourselves would fit right in. Lizzie and I looked at each other and laughed. We said we'd be down, and he said great, the party doesn't start till 11.
Party don't
He asked for
start
my
till
number,
I
so I
walk
gave it to
in.
him. Then he said he'd text me the details and see us later, and down the street he walked.
Ain't no way in hell I would have like, no.
Lizzie and I were super excited. It was only the first night, and we were already invited to a crazy London party. We figured
London
if we
give
played
crazy
the cards right
parties?
with the
I didn't know
wealthy
they would
people at
know
this
that.
apartment party, we would have people to hang out with the rest of the trip. We got back to the hotel, showered and changed, and we pre-gamed with a little vodka first to loosen ourselves up. I think we drank more than we should have, though. I texted the guy we met, realizing we didn't even get his name. He texted back quickly with the address to the apartment, so we loudly marched into the street to wait for our Uber. It was a 15-minute Uber drive to get to the apartment, and when we got there, we couldn't believe how different the architecture of this apartment building was compared to something back home in America. I pressed the code for the apartment, and we were quickly buzzed in. We took the elevator to the 5th floor. We were excited, but nervous, not knowing what to expect. The alcohol was definitely helping, though.
It's
I
helping
knocked
you
on the
be
door to the
stupid.
apartment, but we didn't hear music inside, which was odd. We were nervous we had the wrong apartment until the young man from earlier opened the door. He hugged us hello and welcomed us into this dead,
I'm
quiet
like, bitch,
apartment.
don't touch me.
He shut the door,
Are you?
and we asked, "Where is everyone?" He said, "Oh, it's still early, don't worry."
Bitch,
We
it's
looked
10
around the
o'clock.
apartment, and it was not at all as big as we were expecting for an apparent rich guy. We asked where his friend who owned the apartment
He said he was rich.
The man said he was getting things ready in his room. He told us to sit and make ourselves comfortable. I remember looking at my phone and seeing it was like 11:30. Lizzie and I sat
Still
down,
early.
and I could tell by her face she was as put off by this as I was. The man sat down on the same couch as us, next to me. He was uncomfortably close. Suddenly, another man came out from another room. He didn't say anything. He didn't smile. He just looked at us as he walked towards the door to the apartment. And he just stood there.
Oh, fuck.
The man on the couch with us started asking us questions.
Yeah, he's
like
making sure
where we
y'all
were
don't
from,
leave.
and if it was just us two visiting here. I started feeling sick to my stomach.
I'm like, no, it's a whole bunch
The
of
man
people.
next to us got up and went to the kitchen to get us some drinks. The man by the door stood there. Lizzie was to the left of me, so she was more hidden from view. I whispered in her ear to dial 911. She did so, and I noticed her tapping on the phone multiple times, indicating to the call taker that we needed help. Lizzie then suddenly called out loudly to the man in the kitchen, "This is apartment 5C, right?" The man at the door said yes in a deep, unfriendly voice. I
Yes.
whispered to Lizzie again
Yes.
that we needed to stall, and not to drink any
I don't
drinks
know
the
why I
man
gave
gave
him like
us.
some Eastern European
As
type.
I was whispering to Lizzie, the man standing at the door called to the man in the kitchen to hurry up with the drinks.
Hurry up with the
And
drinks
he
so we
came
can
back from
knock
the
these
kitchen with
bitches
the
out.
drinks. I had to think
Sell
on my
them.
feet, to stall as long as possible before drinking whatever he just set in front
Y'all
of
about
us.
to get human traffic.
I put on a fake and bubbly persona and said we should play Would You Rather. I know it sounds juvenile, but I had to think of a game that didn't involve drinking. The man seemed to play along with it, so me and Lizzie started coming up with Would You Rather questions. And he started coming up with some of his own, but he would often suggest we take a sip of our drinks, saying the guests would be there soon and that we
I'm
needed
like,
to loosen up some
Can
more.
I drink if I want to?
I stalled for as long as I could, saying we already drank a lot, but we'd be down to drink more in a little bit. I remember when things were about to turn really south. The two men looked at each other. Then the bigger, scarier man at the door came over and said, "All right, drink your drinks." He was about to reach for one of the glasses to probably force in my face, when there was an aggressive banging at the door, followed by a man shouting police. The younger man looked at us and asked, "Did you call
See,
the
that's where you
police?"
gotta learn Krav Maga.
I said, "No, why and when would we?" But my voice cracked as I
It's
said
not
this,
Krav Maga.
indicating I was nervous. Lizzie apparently just decided to hell with my story and screamed help. The police started to attempt to kick the door down, but the bigger man screamed, all right, and opened the door with his hands
you
up.
got this, you got this.
The two men tried playing innocent. Lizzie and I had to fabricate the story a little bit, saying the two men basically forced us into the
We
apartment.
were just
and
gonna
wouldn't let
do
us
a little
leave.
human
And
trafficking.
we were pretty sure they drugged our drinks. That was enough to get the men arrested. A second police car arrived to escort us
Isn't it
to the
weird? You
station
think of this
for further
happening in the
questioning.
U.S., you think they would just be raped and
Drinks were
murdered.
tested, and it turned
But in
out to no
Europe, they would be
surprise
human
they were
trafficked.
roofied.
Like,
This was definitely a scarring experience, but we didn't let it ruin our trip to London. In fact, we never told our parents until years later, just because it would probably make them less likely to let us travel.
I probably wouldn't even leave my hotel room.
The
after
alcohol
this.
definitely didn't help our initial decision making in the night. But our advice would probably be don't ever trust strangers,
Well, yeah.
no matter what they look like.
Well, yeah, definitely. Especially if they're good looking. You don't trust them, especially.
When I was 14, my parents took us on a trip to a family resort. It was in the middle of nowhere, and it was the most countryish, old-style resort you could
Oh,
ever
he's about
imagine.
to say country shit.
Every building was made
Country-ish.
of wood. There were big, creepy bugs crawling around. The inside of the resort halls all smelled like cigarettes. I felt too old to be in there with my family, especially since I'm the only boy out of my siblings, and my sisters were 9 and 5 at the time. I tried looking for teens my age to make friends with, but it really seemed like it was just families with younger kids. However, I met this girl who was 15. We met in the little arcade hall when I was with my 2 sisters. She came up to me and said, hey. As it turned out, she was staying here with her family too, and she wasn't having a good time either. So we started to hang out. She seemed kind of cool, a little strange, had somewhat gothy vibes to her. Her name was Alyssa. The next day, I ran into her again as I was passing by the pool. She waved me over, and she said, let's go for a walk in the woods by the river. As we did, I tried to get to know her more. I asked her what building her room was in. She hesitated before her answer and then said, the one next to the main hall. It was a vague answer. We sat by the river for a while, and I gotta admit, she started talking about some weird, dark stuff.
Of course you
I
do.
won't get into it, but I started to think she had some issues. Then she looked up at me and said, can we go to your room? I lit up
Fuck
with
no.
excitement inside. I was a 14-year-old boy,
course you did.
hormones raging, so
I'm about to get
obviously I
some
said
pussy.
yes with a little too much excitement in me, imagining the best case scenario.
She about to get some.
We got close to my room, and she asked for the card to open the door, and she ran ahead to open it.
Wait a minute.
We sat
What?
on my bed for
Why'd
a
you
few
give her your
minutes.
room key?
I was a bit awkward, so I didn't know how to make a move or if to make a move. She started talking about deep, dark stuff again, though. How she hated her family, how she had no more friends.
I'm like, you are
how she
killing the
likes
mood
feel
here.
of
Like, you are
blood,
killing my
whatever
boner.
that meant. Then out of nowhere, she flicked open a huge switchblade and looked at me. She told me sometimes she thinks about using this on herself or someone else. That was the moment this went from weird to
I'm
disturbing.
like, yeah, why don't you go outside and
This
cut your
wasn't
throat?
going where I thought it was. It was actually going in a much darker,
Yeah,
scarier direction.
if you were
The
expecting
way she
this,
looked at me with the knife flicked open was scaring me. She looked at me and said, do you want to use this knife on someone here? I thought over my answer and said, I don't know, I have to think about it. Obviously, I would never. This girl's true psychotic nature had just come out, and I had to play it
I
safe.
don't know how to think about
I
it.
said we should go back outside and walk around. She said okay. So we went back outside
She
and walked
has
around the resort grounds.
Issues.
I watched the way she looked at people passing by, staring them down, not caring when they would notice.
She's psychotic. Or something?
Luckily, I saw my parents straight ahead, and I said, oh shoot, there's my parents. I should probably go hang out with them.
Almost
Listening
seemed like
was a
she
little bit
doesn't
annoying.
have any empathy.
All she said was, okay. I said, see ya, and she just looked at me.
Like, I would like to
I
use
went
this
to my
knife
family,
and
for
cut
the rest of
somebody.
the day and night, I stayed with them, hoping to not run into that freaky girl again. That night, we got back to the room. around
Freaky
9.
girls, they got the
This
best
resort
pussy.
had huge rooms, so
Crazy
basically I
shit.
had my own room that was attached to my parents' and sister's room, but it also had its own door into the hall. Anyway, I went to sleep, or at least tried to. Half an hour into laying in bed, I heard the beep from the door unlocking.
Ah,
and
this
then the door to my
idiot
room
didn't get his
opening and
key
closing.
back.
By the time I fully looked up, the door was shut, and the light from the hall was gone. I saw someone standing in front of the door, though. "Who is it?" I said. I heard a familiar girl's voice. "I want blood." I sat up and remembered I never got
but you
my
get
key
plenty
card
in
back
your
from
body.
Alyssa. She planned this. She approached my bed in the dark with something in her left hand because she had it lifted.
How could she have suspected that you weren't going to ask for your
"I
key
want
card
blood.
back?
Will you help me, or will I get it from you?"
Fuck.
I'm not ashamed to admit
Talking
it.
about
I screamed like
get
a
it from
goddamn
your
girl.
ass.
She still stood there. She didn't charge at me. She didn't run at first. When my dad burst into the room, though, that's when she took off. My dad saw her, and I yelled she was about to kill me. He was about to go after her, but I screamed, "Don't, she has a knife." Everyone in the hall came out of their rooms to see what was going on. We went down to the main office to get some info on this Alyssa girl, and out of all the guests, there was no one named Alyssa. Hell, there were no girls even close to her age staying at the resort at that current time. Police were called, and like 4 cop cars showed up and searched the whole perimeter. I think like 2 or 3 cop cars stayed overnight since there were so many kids at the place. The key card lock was changed on our door for the night. A lot of families, including mine, left the next day, and we got a refund for the 2 days we cut
You getting the
short.
fuck out of here.
This whole thing was actually insane. That girl was fucked up in the head, and it's
You
scary
think?
knowing she was probably in the early stages of being a completely different monster.
Yeah, she finally got the urge that, hey, I'm gonna kill somebody now. So ain't no telling how long she been planning that way. It says she around the same age as him, but that shit starts early. Like you like people born like that. That was fucked up. But yeah, you gotta be careful on vacation, man. Like I what I talked about earlier. I went to St. Thomas, and I got drunk. Like I shit, and a similar thing like this happened. What not like this. Mine actually worked out. Thought I had this on my damn phone. I went down to the beach at night, drunk off my ass. I got in the car that, well, I didn't rent it because I wasn't 25, but I paid for it, and my dad rented it. And my dad was in the room. I walked out, and I decided, I said, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go for a ride." So I had the keys on me, so I went and got in the Jeep because it was like a Jeep Cherokee or something. Got in the Jeep, drove out, went to the strip club. I don't know, I spent like maybe $200, $300 in there. Left, went back out. Didn't know my dad just blowing my phone up. And I went back to the resort, and they had like a beach down. And I remember, because I have a fear of heights, and they had these big tall ass stairs going up to the resort, going down to the beach. And I remember I was nervous walking up those things, even though they had rails on them. It looked so steep. And I walked down there and just sat on like one of the chairs they had out there. And this chick I saw from earlier, she was bad. She was like swimming in the water and stuff like that. She was bad. And I don't remember her name. She looked like, I don't even remember what she looked like she was Dominican or something. What the fuck was her name? But I didn't. Damn, what was her name? Anyway, I can't fucking remember. But we started talking because she was down there again, and it was like a beautiful moon out, and they had lit like tiki torches and stuff out there, and it looked really nice. And she offered. She was like, so you wanna go back to my room and drink and stuff like that? And I'm already drunk off my ass. I was like, yeah, we can go back to the room, yeah. Because one thing, it was, yeah, tiki torch, but it was like bugs flying all around and shit. And so we went up. She actually wasn't that far from her. She was like in the same building. It was like, once there was like 3 or 4 buildings. Well, it was actually like I think it was 5 buildings. I want to say because it was like the main building where the office and they had like gift shops and they had like a little club in there and a bar and stuff like that. And then they had the actual building with the rooms. And she was in this. I think she, if I remember, I think she was in the same building. I was so drunk. I don't even remember that. Which is funny because I met her because I actually talked to her for like I don't know, like a few minutes down on the beach, and I can't remember her name. And then I don't even remember. I remember how I even started talking to her again. That second time, we went to her room, and, and she started. I remember her knocking on back. Like she started taking shots and stuff like, and she didn't even offer me a drink. She like, "You want a drink?" She just started drinking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And I only took like I think I took. I don't even remember how many. Man, I was fucked up. Normally I can remember, like, even when I get drunk, I can remember, like, the night. I was real drunk that night. I know because I don't usually drive drunk either, but I drove drunk that night. And in a place I'm not familiar with, on those terrible roads they had down there. But, and you had to drive on the opposite side of the road, if I remember correctly. Yeah, yeah. Did I? I don't remember. I don't, no, you know you did, because it's, no, you did, cause they had the same way the U.S., because the U.S. recognized, but so they drove on the same side that Americans do. But I'm thinking about Afghanistan, like you drive on the opposite side. But yeah, but anyway, before I knew it, me and that girl was we were going at it. I ended up, I think I was in there maybe 2 hours from when we first went in the room. Cause we just, I remember we was laughing. And she put on the TV. She put on like a, she went to like one of the music channels. I remember she was dancing and stuff like that. Like club music stuff. We went at it. I remember one day, on my phone, I didn't feel my phone vibrate or nothing because I had it on vibrate. I didn't feel it. I had a flip phone back then. That motherfucker vibrated hard. Like it was like woo, and it made that loud vibration. So people like in the room could just hear, even if he was talking, and everyone was talking, they could still hear the vibration. That's how loud that phone, the vibration of that phone was. But I didn't hear nothing. And I think I ended up going back to the room. My dad's sleeping now. And I'm like a fucking kid. I was like, I can't leave it on vacation. And I was drunk. And I was coming out of it. I don't even know I don't even remember what we took shots at. I think it was rum. Because rum was cheap as fuck down there. Like, rum was so cheap down there. Like, any of the drinks that didn't have that, any drink that, which is mainly rum, were the cheapest drinks. So we usually got those. And they had drowned those drinks. And I remember I drank like 8 pina coladas at the bar at our hotel. And they just, you could see them, she just pouring. It was a chick up there, and a guy came and he was taking over her shift, and she was pouring like just pouring. I was like, this dude. I think at that point we were like 6 in pina coladas in, and I was like, this dude ain't gonna give us the say shit. He was pouring that rum on there so much. I was like, man, they trying. Yeah, I was like, maybe they trick because you don't spend because those pina coladas were delicious, and they snuck up on you. And that's when I got a taste for rum. Before then I just really drank vodka. I didn't drink rum. And then and then from there I remember I bought some vodka. Some rum from there because it was cheap. Took it back, home when I left and stuff like that. But yeah, that shit. I don't even remember. Like I can't even remember. I can't remember that chick's name. For some reason, I want to say her name was like Dorothy or something, but I can't really remember her name. I don't remember what I said to get because I assumed that I probably didn't speak. I have no game, so I know I didn't say nothing. Like she was not interested, and then just convinced her to let me go to her room. Like, she must have been, like, she was out there on the prowl. And she probably saw me earlier we was talking, so she just chose me. But, cause like, I know I had no game, so I know I ain't say nothing to get her to go out room. But I wasn't even nervous, but like I said, I was drunk. I was drunk. Then I drank. I remember drinking at the strip club. I might actually spend more than $300. That's the number I threw out. I think it might have been more than $300. Because I remember I went back there. I went there the night before, and then I went back. I'm bored, and at first I was going to just drive around at night. Just like it had to be at like 11, maybe 12, and ended up just going back to the strip club. And this place was far too from where my hotel, but it was like a main road, so I memorized how to get back and stuff like that. So, and I remember that it was a chick that was in there from the night before that I gave quite a bit of money to, and she recognized. She said, "Oh, you back?" And she said I remember she said my name. She said, "Hey, Elijah, how you doing?" I was like, hey, and I couldn't remember. She told me what her name was. I remember the night before, and I'm terrible with names anyway. Plus, I was drunk this night. Like, because I didn't get drunk the night before, but I did get tipsy. So I was like drunk this night, and then and she was like really. She was like she offered to take me in the back. Like she like you give $250 to the house, we can go in the back. So and I remember this though, because I kind of came out of my drunken stupor. I was like, why didn't you say that from the get-go? Because I spent, like I said, I know it's at least $300. And I was like, why didn't you say that from the get-go? We could just do that. Oh my God. But then after that, I was like, I gotta go. I gotta leave because you gonna make me spend all my money. So that's when I left. I don't have the shit. Anyway. Well, I had a good time. These people didn't. I never had anyone like follow me. Maybe because I'm like 6'2", like over 200 pounds, so maybe that's why. Oh, but anyway, let me go for my camera cut off. Hope you all enjoy my reaction. Hope you all enjoy my reaction, everyone. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you did not, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and make sure to subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.